Now they're all 2 years older. The first son you give 100,000 went to Singapore, comes back, says he wants a quarter. The second wants a quarter. The third one wants a quarter. Which of those three are you more comfortable giving more money to, knowing you're going to get a rate of return on your money? The first, the second, or the third?
Probably the first, right?
What, the first?
Yeah.
The guy that went to Singapore?
Oh, no, not that guy. My bad. I kind of got lost in the metaphor here.
So the first guy...
That's what I'm saying. Hey, what sense does your dumbass scenario example gets to? He totally missed the point. He's talking about investing hundreds of thousands of dollars. At this point, you just spent $300,000 on your own kids as investments. And we're talking about poverty in Los Angeles, or better yet, in America. How do you get investments when trying to solve poverty? He asked you about poverty. What are we doing here? Get your mind out of your wallet. What? Come on, damn. And this right here is another reason why I hate politics. And of course, I gotta like somehow add that into like somewhere throughout my video, because that's my catch line right there. But this is one of the reasons why I kind of hate politics, is because a lot of people have that like certain personality, you know, like, and I'm pretty sure if you've been out there in the workforce, you've been around plenty of people growing up in high school, whatever the case is, like a lot of people have that like hammer mentality, you know, just like whatever the situation is, you treat it like a hammer. And of course, when everything looks like a nail to you, of course, you're just going to hammer away. You know what I'm saying? Like, in which at some point, some scenarios, that's a good idea. Trust me, I'm like half of a hammer. I used to be like that. But when it comes to government, which, you know, we're talking about politics, you can't manage, let's say, poverty the same way you do entrepreneurs or CEOs or industries or businesses throughout the country. You can't treat those two scenarios or those two roads the same. You're not going to get the same outcome. So therefore, that's why, you know, you surround yourself. You have people who are built a certain way to handle these certain situations. Obviously, you're not going to get, you know, a basketball coach, someone who trains, you know, newbies and professional basketball players and put them in golf. That's not going to work. It might be some overlays, but for the most part, he's going to be out of his element. That's not his zone. That's not his area. So when it comes to, you know, Republicans' obsession of running America like a business, that's not going to work. And you're obviously going to run into some problems, of course. Like I got here. One, you can't, when you're in government, just like the post office, you can't, your number one goal can't be to expect profits. That's not how that works. You might get profits in a couple of years. You may not see profits until 10 years, or you may never see profit. But that's not your goal. Your goal is to serve your citizens. Your goal is to, of course, you know, protect and, you know, all that. But when it comes to interacting with your citizens, your number one goal can't be profits. And that's what CEOs and these entrepreneurs, or, you know, entrepreneurs, because everybody and their mama's entrepreneurs nowadays, that's all they look for. That's all that matters to them. But you can't see people. You can't see their circumstances or what they're going through as profit. Because then you're going to be turning everybody. You're going to be turning 99% of Americans away. And you're going to be catering to the 1%. Yes. And one quote from the Declaration of Independence, if you don't know what that is, go ahead, Google that after this video so you can kind of get caught up on it. But, you know, throughout the top, I believe it's the second paragraph, one of my favorite parts right here. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. Yes, I know you heard that before. That they are endowed by their creator, capital C, with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and here's the important part, the pursuit of happiness. Yes, not many people, just a very few, we may never completely get to that place of happiness, but it's a continuous journey. I'm 38 years old. I know you may not never get there, but the goal is to continuously, every day, step by step, is to get to that place, obviously. But the government's job, and this is my opinion, tell me in the comments if you think I'm wrong. Let me know. But my opinion, when it comes to the government and its people, which once again, the government serves a lot of, parts here. But one that that we're talking about here is the government is supposed to facilitate structures around the American people to keep them going on that journey. So if something happens, something out of your control or something even in your control, hey, let's just say you're one of those late bloomers and you just been screwing up your whole life, but you still have the energy and the willpower to continue. The government is supposed to be there to make sure that you don't hit rock bottom. The wealthiest country in the world, we should not be hitting rock bottom. That's not the math. Don't be mathing like that. How we the richest country? And we got millions of people living under the poverty line. That doesn't make any sense. So the government's job is to make sure that you don't have to work 2-3 jobs just to still barely make it. That should be illegal. You feel me? You should be able to work your 40-hour job. You got a life. You got kids. You got things that you want to do. You shouldn't be having to spend 80 hours at work to still barely make it. That's not how that works. So the government is supposed to be there to make sure you don't hit rock bottom and to supply. Hey, trust me, I got a list here. Food security. Not every job is going to pay, $40-50 an hour. So if you are working a restaurant job or a thrift store job and it's not paying a livable wage, which, some circumstances I get why, some jobs can't pay that. But the government should be providing food. We're humans. We need food. Duh. You know what I'm saying? Housing. The government should be able to provide at least some sort of accommodation for that, because obviously you're not making enough. And depending where you live at, you may not have job opportunities like that. Job security, create jobs. The government should be able to create jobs or put people into jobs to where they can do better for themselves. Trust me, I'm 38. I done been looking for jobs when I was younger that would support me and my family, but it's hard. It's hard out there for a pimp. Education. You get better education, supposedly on paper, you get better education, you should be able to get a better job, right? So the government should be investing into their people to get these better jobs. So guess what? We can spend more money in our economy. Hey, economy 101. In daycare, of course. We got kids. America love the kids, right? Well, help me with my kids if I need that type of assistance. If I'm a single parent or I'm having a new kid, help me with my life when it comes to raising a kid. That's essential. But of course, when it comes to business people, they don't see it like that. They don't care about your personal life. They just want to see you clock in, overwork you, and clock out. That's it. That's all they care about. And when it comes to, hey, here we go. When it comes to clowns like this, Patrick Bent Davis, not only, is his business model. I did a video about his whole, pyramid scheme. He's a con artist. He's just a talker. He is a grifter. And he does not care about the fundamental things that are important to the American person. All he sees is dollar signs and who he can scam next. That's it. So when he's having this conversation with Channel 5, I forget, Andrew, yeah. I've probably seen like a few of his videos. He's really good. So when I see him on this, I'm like, hey, I know it's going to be some gold here. So this is like a 2-hour long conversation, but this one right here stands out. So let's go ahead and get into this video.
Oh, damn.
Just
You're
tell me,
asking me, like,
you
what
wanna
would,
do
what would I
billionaire?
buy if I was
What
a green
net worth do
billionaire?
you want to do? You want to do 100 million? You want to do billion? Or you want to stick to billionaires?
Yeah, let's stick to people who are making, you know, multi-billion dollars every year.
How about let's say billionaires and up?
Okay.
What does a rich billionaire buy? What things do they buy?
Well, what first thing that comes to mind for me is a pool, like an infinity pool that
Okay.
bleeds directly into the Pacific Ocean.
Beautiful.
A fleet of jet skis for all of my friends.
Okay.
So we can kind of travel.
I love it.
travel
Keep
that
going,
way.
bro.
Corporate real estate on the water, so we can jet ski from the house to work.
I love it. This is like Larry Ellison. You ever seen Larry Ellison's headquarters?
No,
And I don't really care about this part that he's looking up, but I'll get back to the conversation. But it's kind of funny, and I don't, and maybe I'm reading too much into this, but I don't think Patrick here understands like the flaw in his own questioning here. Like, when you're a billionaire, of course you're gonna just splurge on the most craziest, most outlandish things that you can think of. Of course, that's your money. Go ahead and do what you want to do. But when you're a regular citizen, hey, guess what? Guess what I want, baby? Guess what I want? I want one day when I'm driving to work, you know, because I'm driving on time. I'm never late. And my check-in engine light goes off. And I go ahead and check that. It says, hey, you need an oil change. I want to be able to get paid and get my oil changed in time. I shouldn't have to prioritize like, oh my God, like I'm gonna have to move this around and I'm gonna have to pay this late, or I'm gonna have to somehow switch this up and maybe pay this late too. And then 2-3 months later, then, you know, when I'm not panicking and not having anxiety attacks, thinking my car gonna break down any second, that, you know, then I can pay to get my oil changed. Just simple things like that. Regular folks, probably you watching, that's what we want. I want to be able to pay my bills on time and not have to worry about moving money around. You see what I'm saying? Squeezing $1 out of 15 cents. I'm a professional at that at this point. But of course, you know, Patrick and his dumbass scenarios here never get to the point of anything.
What else? So far, we got infinity pool on the water at the Pacific, Ocean. You got jet skis, and then you have a corporate real estate on the water to jet ski from office to the house.
Yeah, personal trainer, private chef,
Personal trainer,
nutritionist,
private chef,
dermatologist to live on scene to help me with my skin problems.
Dermatologists, love it. We need these dermatologists. Who else?
I can't even think about it. I just know that once you pass a certain amount of money, it becomes a competition as to who can get the most
give
flashy
me more,
thing.
bro. Go greedy. What else is this billionaire going to buy? I want more. Get creative.
Okay, well, I'm
Is he
trying to
gonna
think
have a
what kind of
helicopter?
billionaire. Am I a tech billionaire or am I like a Saudi royal family member?
Give me both of them.
Okay. I can't even think of anything else.
Yeah, but okay, let's just say private jet. Is that fair?
Yeah.
You for sure have a private jet. Let's just say yacht. Do you have a vacation home?
Yeah, in Santa Fe.
In Santa Fe.
Oh, no, that's where Jeffrey Epstein had.
Ooh,
I got to
that's
pick somewhere
rough.
else.
You gotta go Santa Fe?
I scratched that.
That's tough.
I have a vacation home.
Gene Hackman, like,
on the west coast of Jamaica, Westmoreland Parish.
holy shit, good taste.
Yeah.
What else? What else do you do to hoard the money? Where do you hoard your money?
You could just sit on it.
What do you sit on? Like what bank?
Well, what a
what
lot of billionaires
institution?
do is they use their money to kind of like use the legal system, civil court in particular, to bully people who talk badly about them.
Yeah, but that's like.
It's happening to me right now.
Yeah, I get that part, but I'm saying, what do they buy? But let's even say that. So that means they hire a PR firm and lawyers, right? So they hire a PR firm.
Or we already know that they hide their money into stocks and then they live off, I forget the term, but they live off those stocks. I forget the word, but man, I wish someone would. Hey, that's what they do with the rest of their money. And then they live off the loans they get from the bank, so they don't really spend their own money like that. I mean, that's pretty common sense at this point. So, but of course, Patrick's not going to be honest.
Okay, do they buy expensive watches?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I personally wouldn't buy a watch.
But they probably do it.
Yeah.
Crazy. I don't know why they do this kind of stuff. What else? What else do these guys buy?
I feel like I'm being set up right now. Where does this end?
This is where I'm going with this.
If there's something that I don't know about billionaires, I want you to tell me.
I tell you what it is. Here's how I process it. So if they have an infinity pool, does it have to be maintained?
Yeah, but okay, I see what you're saying. There is pool staff that needs to make sure the water there's not too much chlorine going into the ocean.
Do they have
Hurt
to be
the fish.
maintained though? Somebody has to take care of it on a weekly
Okay.
basis. To build an infinity pool, Rob, how much? Put average price of building an infinity pool in Malibu.
So essentially, his whole, I guess, point of his questioning is when billionaires want to splurge and ball out of control, you're going to need regular people to maintain and filling these positions like a personal chef. Okay. Now, a lot of these jobs, if you're just maintaining a pool, you're not going to live off that. You're not going to be your own little mini millionaire off that. A lot of these jobs are dirt poor cheap. And when it comes to constructing these type of things like an infinity pool, a lot of these construction workers don't get paid that much. Trust me, I used to be a construction worker. I used to create things and tear things down. So I wasn't balling out of control. And this was back in, 2017? You know what I'm saying? When you're getting paid like 22, 23 an hour, like that seems like a lot. But you ain't moving to the Bahamas. You ain't moving to, Colorado Springs where I live. That's a really nice place. But anyway, so I think his point is still flat here. Oh yeah, billionaires are creating jobs, but these jobs are not high quality paying jobs. Show me not a water boy, but a pool boy where he's making, $80,000 a year, a livable wage, not $40,000, $50,000 a year, especially in Colorado. You barely making it with that. So once again, Pat, like that doesn't prove nothing. These billionaires are creating low quality jobs. Great job. Okay.
Malibu. Okay, let's
skip all his
150. You're creating a job,
And
right?
you need to get 6 to 8 so that you and your core employees can commute to.
corporate created, right? If you have a private personal trainer, that's a job you're creating.
Yeah.
If you have a chef, that's a job you're creating.
Okay, I
If you have
get
a
the point you're
nutritionist-
trying to make.
Yeah.
People should be able to get nice things for themselves if they work super hard.
But that's
I'm
not-
not the kind of guy who's
Yeah.
like, if you work hard, the specific tax
Okay.
rate should be a little bit higher. Not ridiculously higher, but higher enough to where they can have substantial social welfare programs.
My biggest challenge with that is even the greediest of the greediest who goes and is like flaunting a big ass platinum gold chain that they're putting around their neck that they bought for whatever that somebody took 3 months to build. No matter what it is, the money is flowing. Even if they put the money in the bank and they're sitting on it, the bank is lending it back to somebody. So money's always working. Chase is not going to let money stay in the bank.
Yeah.
The moment you put money in Chase, guess what Chase is doing? Chase is lending it to somebody ASAP. They don't want
Yeah.
the money to stay in the bank. They're not making.
Technically, I mean, if we really want to get into the details, banks are not just lending money to everybody. I mean, we've seen plenty of stories where banks are like literally denying people because they don't see a high profit into loaning out to these people. You see what I'm saying? So like, I don't know why he's depending on, or maybe it's just me reading into it, but like bank loans, really, that's what you're hanging your hat on, bank loans. But Mr. Andrew, he's going to get to a good point
money
here.
like that. So no matter what you do, the basis of this question for me goes, who's going to do better with the money? Giving it to the government, because you said what right after when I said taxes, you said in California, what did you say? Let me go back to it. You said in California, the taxes that you're paying 45%, but then at the same time, taxes are not being used effectively.
Right.
How much of that are we going through right now?
Well, I mean, on the inverse, and what do you think will solve the problem of the extreme poverty and wealth inequality in the country?
Well,
Now, hey, there's a $1 billion question there. Now, in a normal conversation, when you're just, talking as a regular person to another regular person, like you're 9 times out of 10 going to try to answer that question directly. Either you're going to give some sort of ideas or some, crazy, idea, whatever. It may work, it may not work. You may sound crazy, or you're just going to say, I don't know. Hey, I don't know. You tell me what your idea is. But Pat or Davis, whatever his name is, like, he doesn't care about those type of issues. Why? Because that's not beneficial for him or his brand or his company or his money. He doesn't care about the homeless problem. If he just ship them all to another island or something, I don't know. Put them in jail. Let Donald Trump deport them. Something, I don't know. But get them off my street. That's his only solution. So he's not going to answer this question. And that's the annoying part. But let's see how Andrew listens to all this garbage and then brings it right back to him.
Well, let's see. California's been trying to do it.
Well, the thing is, they tried. That's the thing is, everyone sees Gavin Newsom as like an enabler for all these destructive democratic policies, but he still makes concessions to conservatives who are like bullying him into not carrying it out. For example, let's take the Tenderloin in San Francisco, which is still the biggest open air drug zone in the city. Been that way for decades. He, obviously during the Biden administration and when Newsom was in control, he still is. It was a crazy scene out there. There was people smoking fentanyl on the streets, people defecating and sleeping in the streets.
It's San Francisco.
Yeah, in this particular area.
Is there a clip you want him to show?
No, I think we can just overlay it or something. But I mean, in general, Governor Newsom was being kind of like shit on for letting that happen. But the reality is, and people on the ground know this, there was supposed to be a safe injection site that was 2 blocks long, 2 blocks wide, that was supposed to be maintained by the state and the city. So it made it so people wouldn't be able to use heroin, fentanyl, and meth on the streets. They would have to go to a controlled environment where the public and children and people who were living in that community wouldn't have to interact with them, and they could have the access to the services they need. At the last minute, Governor Newsom didn't build it because he was too scared of getting another media smear campaign and being made to seem like someone who lets people do drugs in the open. But he still...
So, in other words, he was a coward. Which, you can say whatever you want about, whatever idea, but have an idea. Try to do something to fix the problem instead of like, I don't know, whatever. Like, come up with an idea, stupid or not. And honestly, in other countries, this has worked. So just do it. But of course, Democrats, 95% of Democrats are just cowards at this point.
Does drugs in the open. So with the Democratic establishment in California, there's a lot of hypocrisy and there's a lot of we don't know where the money's going. There's not much transparency as far as what's happening with all these taxes that are being taken away from people who worked hard to make that money. We do know that $1 trillion of wealth have left California in the past 4 years. We do know that cities like San Francisco and LA that are still generating a ton of money, much of that money isn't even being pumped back into the city because so many workers have gone remote. There's a lot of people working in California that decide not to live there because they can do their work for tech companies remotely elsewhere in a more affordable state like Montana.
Taxes. Yeah, that's right.
So
yeah, that needs to be regulated. That is crazy. Regulate the hell out of that. But of course, gotcha.
I think that when you look at progressive policies and you look at poverty and it's not changing, and then you look at the tax rate going up and down, it can be easy to say, you know what, nothing's ever going to change, and that's why there's so much like a sense of apathy and nihilism when it comes to the billionaire thing. That's why people are saying, oh, billionaires are the worst, kill them all, like on the internet, because they've seen nothing change, and they're seeing, okay, the cost of living is high, there's homeless people everywhere, there's so much poverty, yet there's this class of people who are unaffected by it. So the question is then, if we don't raise the taxes, what can be done to change that situation on the ground?
To tax it.
Now let's hear Patrick's answer. Man, I hope it's a good one. It's not, but I hope it's a good one, but it's not.
No, I mean the situation with inequality and poverty.
Yeah, but that's not how it works, though, because to me, here's how it works. Okay, let's just say you got 3 sons, and they're all 25 years old. Okay.
25.
And you're 60 years old at this time. Could
60?
you be? Yeah, 60. Yeah, 25, 60. Let's just say you're 65 years old. You got 3 sons, 25, 26, 27.
Okay.
They're all out of college.
Okay.
You give each of them $100,000. First one, you give
I'm giving my 3 kids, and they $100,000 each. You can already tell by the setup of this scenario, he doesn't know what is going on out there. I'm just gonna give my kids $100,000. Okay. Hey Pat, can I call you Pat? Okay, Pat, let's continue. Maybe you got some good idea down the road with this scenario here.
$100,000. He goes to Singapore. He parties, he comes back, has a lot of stories. Says, Dad, I tried an opportunity. I met with this businessman in Singapore. Didn't work out. I need another $250,000. I'm up to something big. Second son comes up. You give him $100,000. He takes $100,000, buys a small condo, gets a nice little job, makes 120 grand a year, doesn't need any money from you anymore. He's doing okay. He's happy. He's got a girlfriend. They're pretty serious.
Okay.
Third one, you give $100,000, takes $100,000, starts a little real estate shop, turns it into $3.2 million, okay? 2 years later. Now they're all 2 years older. The first son you give $100,000 went to Singapore, comes back, says he wants a quarter. The second wants a quarter. The third one wants a quarter. Which of those three are you more comfortable giving more money to, knowing you're going to get a rate of return on your money? The first, the second, or the third?
Probably the first, right?
What, the first?
Yeah.
The guy that went to Singapore?
Oh, no, not that guy. My bad. I kind of got lost in the metaphor here because I was
So
just
the first
thinking
guy,
about
That's what I'm saying. Hey, what sense does your dumbass scenario example gets to? He totally missed the point. He's talking about investing hundreds of thousands of dollars. At this point, you just spent $300,000 on your own kids as investments. And we're talking about poverty in Los Angeles, or better yet, in America. How do you get investments when trying to solve poverty? He asked you about poverty. What are we doing here? Get your mind out of your wallet. What? Come on, damn. Oh my, these people are so disgusting. All they think about is how they can exploit people to make more money for them. When you ask about how can we fix poverty in the state that we living in, and you thinking about investments? This is why people don't like billionaires. This is why people don't like the rich, the wealthy, because all you think about is yourself. Damn, get your head out of your own ass. Man.
Singapore. The second guy is a stable guy, good citizen, gets a job.
Number two.
Or the third one that starts a business and makes the money grow for you.
I mean, probably the three, because it would be a bigger investment. But I mean, aside from a business standpoint, like if we obviously, you recognize that there's a big problem with homelessness, poverty, unaffordability.
Hey, thank you, Andrew. Hey, I mean, I probably invest in all three of my kids. I love my kids, and they seem to all be doing pretty well. So, I mean, if I got, hundreds of thousands of dollars to get to them, maybe I'm sitting pretty well myself. So if I want to invest in my kids, fuck it, do it. I don't know, who cares? But can we go back to trying to solve poverty? The people who don't have dads that could just easily give them $100,000. What the fuck? These fucking idiots, bro. And we sit here listening to these dudes who honestly is sitting here taking advice from this greased up dumbass over here. You're really listening to him? God help us all. Jesus
Why do you
Christ.
think that is, though?
What do you think?
I'm asking you. You're in the streets. Why do you think that is?
I mean, I would just assume that because the social safety net is so small here, and there's such little being provided for people in terms of mental health services, the broken Veterans Administration, so many different things, unaffordability. Like, there's just not enough resources to help people who are at rock bottom here.
And like I said at the top of this video, low quality jobs, no access to higher education or affordable education, so we can get those jobs that's asking for whatever reason bachelor degrees and master's degrees to fucking be a supervisor at a store. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I digress. It's a lot of things, and I like how he said, well, you're the guy in the streets, so you tell me. And then Pat, can I call you Pat still? I know you might be mad at me. Hey, Patrick. And then you turn around and give another dumbass answer. You're not in the streets. You're not talking to these regular people because, I mean, they're probably beneath you. But yet, I guess you got money, so I guess your opinion matters more than others.
You think we haven't given enough money? So to me, when you ask the question, if we don't raise the taxes, then how are we going to fix this? To me, the question becomes, the last 30 times we agreed to give you more money, you wasted it. Why should we trust you to give you more money? Because if I give money to Amazon, if I give money and it...
Oh my God, what are you doing? What are you doing? He's talking about poor people. People who don't have companies. Right away, he goes to Amazon. If I want to give money to Amazon, are we talking about entrepreneurs and business investments and 401? No, we're talking about the poor people, the least of these, those without, those we should be. Oh my God! See, man, you have my cough all flare up now, man. Like what are we doing here? Plus, you got an expensive blazer. I'm pretty sure that's a lot. Nice, shirt, hair all nice. You got the nice stuff in the background, product placement. I get that. But man, you are dumb as a fucking bag of bricks at this point. You can't hear a question, internalize it, compute it, understand it, and use your mouth, your brain to answer a question that suits the question. Answer the question, but you don't do that, and that's annoying. Well, if I want to give Amazon, an investment, but we're talking about poor people. Poor people, you don't give investments to. You build infrastructure. Like I said at the top of this video, you build infrastructure to help these people who want to be helped. I get it. Some people don't want to be helped. I get that. But the people who want to build structures, institutions that will help these people not hit rock bottom and provide a way up. And then you can, like a little baby bird, let them free. There you go, little birdie, fly. Like that. I used to be on food stamps. When I got married, what was it, 16 years ago, we used to be on food stamps. Then I worked my way, trust me, it was a hard road, but I worked my way into management. And that's when you're making a little bit more money. Well, guess what? They say, hey, Mr. Ingram, you don't need food stamps no more. And I was like, hey, Mr. Food Stamp people, thank you. You helped me when I needed help. Now I don't need food stamps. I can pay for my own food now because I'm making a little bit more money. When I'm breaking things down, I can pay for my own food now. Now, hey, guess what? That's how it should work. But Patrick doesn't understand that.
A company like Nvidia, if I give money to Tesla, if I give money to Ford or Disney, and I buy the stock and I'm like a believer, here's what's going to be happening. I kind of can track publicly. There's accountability, there's accounting, there's quarterly earnings, there's calls to get on. If I give more money to the government, what is the quarterly earnings?
Yeah.
Where's the accountability?
No, I totally agree
Where's
with
accounting?
you. I agree with
Why
you.
am I giving money to that? There's no way logically one would give money to a company or a business that I don't get to see what you did with my money. There's no tracking to it.
Hey, I agree.
First off, there is some tracking to it. First off, and if you live in this in the area, you can see where the infrastructure is building. You can see where the roads are being repaired. Trust me, I see this all the time. I'm using these damn roads all the time. And I'm honestly happy when I see this bumpy ass road get fixed up a little bit. It might mess up in another few months, but at least I know they're fixing it. That's what they're doing. Now, does the government needs to be more transparent? Of course. Does our government need more reliable people? That's the thing. The government is not the problem. The entity is not the problem. It's the people we decide to elect in there. It's like a gun. The gun doesn't shoot itself. The gun doesn't grow legs and start shooting people. It's the people who own the guns that are the problem. So when he's talking about government, it's the people that need to be responsible with our hard-earned tax-paying money and be more transparent. And of course, we can list a whole bunch of things, but that's the foundation of it. But government, I'm investing. No, my tax money isn't an investment. It kind of is, but not in a way that he's looking at it. You see, because we all share the roads, we all share the hospitals, we all share the fire department, we all share the parks and the police station, we all share these public things that our tax money also goes to. It's not an investment like I give you $1, you flip it to 10 and give me $8 back. No, that's not how that works. And like the post office, like I said, I don't even know if they're seeing a profit, but it works. And it works for people who don't want to pay for Amazon, for the people who don't want to pay for FedEx. It's there, and it's always been a little bit, but it's reliable. It'll get to you at some point. But the government shouldn't always have to worry about, what's coming back to them. It's not an investment. It's governance for the people. You see what I'm saying? Jesus, man, get me all worked up over this idiot, bro.
I do think that, like, we can both agree that, like, throwing money at things doesn't always fix the problem. But you've been around for longer than me. Like, if it's not funding programs to provide for people who are down and out, like, what do we do?
Nowadays, more than ever.
Of course, cut it out, because I guarantee you, hey, I will look you in your eye. I know you don't have any answer for that because you don't care. I'm just a regular YouTuber guy. You know what I'm saying? And I got at least some sort of pretty decent answers. Trust me. Better than yours. And trust me, this was, $10 shirt, $30 hat, $100. Well, these glasses are pretty expensive, like $250, but you get the point. You can't always throw money to try to solve a problem, but you need people who can interact with these people on a one-on-one basis. And that takes money. These people shouldn't be doing it for free or dirt cheap. So you got to pay for these services. You got to pay for these professionals to do these one-on-ones with people. But to sit here and say, oh, where's my investment? Where's my money back? Where's blah, blah, blah with the No. Just because you have a lot of money, a lot of wealth, doesn't mean you have good ideas. That's simple. And, Jeff Bezos created Amazon, but I would not trust him to run public service of any measure. Bro, stick to going to outer space. Stick to doing that. Stick to getting my package delivered to me. Even though it's starting to cost an arm and a leg. That's what I need you. That's what you built, and that's what you do well. Do that well. But just because you're a millionaire doesn't mean you have good ideas. And I'm going to end with this. Look at Michael Jordan. Best example. Michael Jordan, still arguably, I'm sorry about that, one of the greatest players that ever played the sport of basketball. But he sucked when it came to baseball. Hey, he quit and went right back to basketball and won more championships. So the point is, just because you might be a good CEO, just because you might, have a successful business doing X, Y, and Z, doesn't mean people need your input on politics. Leave that to the people who are built for that, who have the ideas and the creativity and the compassion and the empathy to help people who are in need. Not CEOs. No. Those people are the last people we should be turning to. But hey, that's why I hate politics, baby. That's why I hate it. But once again, guys, hey, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments, and I will give you a personal thank you for watching this. Once again, if you agree or disagree with anything I said in this video, let me know in the comments down below, or find me on Blue Sky. Hit the link in the description down below, and let's have that one-on-one talk. And like always, let's have that conversation.